Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
Today, we're going to talk about some very awesome stuff. We have a video about bots clashing, the final book of the series about a boy that does not want to go to magic school, and we have a totally awesome guest. Today, we have the one, the only, the amazing Doug Setter. Doug is a former United Nations peacekeeper and military instructor. He is currently a certified fitness instructor and author of Flat Guy After COVID.
Geez, I can't beat an intro like that. Let me tell you, I'm really glad to be here. I'm totally awesome, overwhelmed with awesomeness being in the presence of a celebrity like yourself there, Tiberius.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, today, we're going to start off with the video of the week, and this is going to be a clash.
And now it's time for the video game of the week.
Today's video game is Bot Clash Simulator. This game is made by Century Explorers. Because it's on Roblox, you are able to play it on PC, Mac, Xbox, and even your cell phone. And it is free. This is the only game from Century Explorers. So first off, you appear in a starting area and you are offered a free bot. It follows you around and will fight for you. Cool. Then you will walk to the field and there are a number of piles of turrets and bots around the field. You can't run over them, but instead you click the item and your bot goes and attacks them. When the bot is defeated, it sends out coins in a blast all over the map. But if you are standing on the item, when they explode, you collect them right away. Big brain thinking. You will also get some gems along with the coins. Your goal is to get enough coins to purchase more bots and upgrades. Go figure! Now you have a quest giver and can battle larger and larger bots. Finally, each stage has a final boss. You have to defeat the final boss so you can move to the next level. There's also a fee to move to the next level as well, so sometimes after beating the boss you might have to wait to get enough money to go to the next stage. I got my dad to try it and he leveled up very fast. Well, I give Bot Clash Simulator 9 out of 10 stars because I really enjoyed that my dad played with me and we competed very fast. It was fun to get the upgrades and follow through the quest line.
peacekeepers.com.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
Wait, you are not Chuck.
My dad can help when people get hurt. He loves to help people.
If you are ever injured at work or in a car accident, you should call my friend Chuck.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
That website again is cwsmithlaw.com.
Offices, Orlando.
Does it actually have that much W's?
And now it's time for the book of the week, Magisterium, the Golden Tower. This book is written by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. Remember to the back of the book. In fact, Doug, would you like to do the honors?
Certainly. Callum Hunt has been a hero and an outcast, a force of good and a portent of evil. While the doors of the Magisterium have been open to him, he has never felt entirely welcome. Now he begins his final year at the magical school.
This is an AR book that's worth 8 points. It's a lot of points. It is rated for 5th grade and first month. This is a great series of the good and bad of magic. So if you remember, Cole and his friends are in a magic school and have been fighting a war. Master Joseph was killed by Aaron, and Aaron was killed by Alex Strike, the bad guy, for a second time. Aaron's soul and his voice is now in Cole's mind. They can communicate with each other. Cole has to go back to the Magisterium for his final year. He has to keep it a secret that Aaron is still with him. But now they are fighting for control of his body back and forth. They get some new roommates, making it harder to keep their secret. Now Alex is demanding a large golden tower to be built in his honor. Should they build the tower? Is the threat of the void real? Will everyone in the world die? Well, I really don't want to ruin it for you, because I really think you should go read the book yourself. I give Magisterium the Golden Tower 10 out of 10 stars because I really liked the trickery when the kids looked like they were bound and gagged, but they knew how to get out of them. And I really liked how they used magic for good and not bad. And now it's time for our interview of an interesting person. Today's guest is going to be so much fun. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Doug Setter. Doug is a former United Nations peacekeeper and military instructor. He is currently a certified fitness instructor and author of Flat Gut After COVID.
Thanks, Tiberius.
No problem. So first off, how are you enjoying being on the show?
I'm pumped. This is really cool. I'm really looking forward to this, and here I am.
Nice. So you are a fitness instructor that was a peacekeeping soldier for the United Nations. Can you explain to my listeners what is a peacekeeping soldier?
Yeah, what it is, you're a trained soldier, but you go to a place with a conflict, and a country asks you to send your army in to separate two warring factions to bring stability to the country, because there's a lot of fighting and a lot of damage going on. There's people trying to rebuild their country, and you're there to help them. You're there to stop the fighting. You're there to make it safe for them to rebuild and bring them aid where necessary.
Okay. Now, almost a year ago, I got to interview an active duty special operations combat controller in the Air Force. How was that different from a peacekeeping soldier from the United Nations?
Well, they could be similar, but from what I understand about the special operations combat controller, they're very much like we have what we call a pathfinder, and we also have what they call a forward observer, and they have to parachute into usually a hostile area and make observations. And depending on the mission, which in the case of war is to direct, aircraft and equipment and if you will, artillery onto certain targets. In my case, they would go further in and observe, make sure there's no weapons being brought in, or if there's any conflict going on. So that's a pretty tough job for what I read about. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So how'd you get started in this amazing job? Do you have to be the military already?
Yeah, you did. I was regular Army. I was reserve, and you have to request to go over. And then you have to pass about 3 months of training, like to make sure your skills and your ability to work as a team are up to speed. So we have to go through all our weapons. I had to go through all my instruction, to go through my leadership, up to my drills, my patrolling, and then we did the physical part where we're actually down in California. We're training, and we had to put on, heavy loads on our back and be able to cover several miles. And that's where we lost a lot of people. They weren't up to it. They just couldn't handle, the physical and mental stress.
Wow. So how long were you working for the United Nations?
So altogether about 9 months. We did the actual mission was 6 months. I spent extra time because I was a sergeant. I had to go ahead, make sure I took over the duties of the former peacekeepers, and then I had to stay behind a little later, and because our mission went a little longer.
Mm-hmm. So what type of tasks does a peacekeeping soldier do each day?
Well, we did about 3 basic things. One was just basic defense of our area. One was patrolling, and that's when we patrol. We meet with the locals. We look for signs of say weapons smuggling. Look for signs of damage, if you will. And then there's a quick reaction force, which we had to stay ready all day for 3 days, except, you could eat and sleep, of course, but you had to be ready. So if there's an emergency, there's an ambush, there's a disaster, something happened, you had to be able to take off faster than Superman.
Wow. Well, how does that make the world a better place?
Well, it's hard to tell sometimes, but I like to think we did, because there were people that didn't like us there, but there's also people that come up and thank us, because sometimes that's the only difference. If you're not there, there's bullies that'll come in and take from people and hurt people and just cause trouble. So a lot of it just being there as a good presence, professional force, without even fighting, just being there made people feel safer. It's kind of like having a police at your front door.
Yeah. Well, did you have to travel all over the world?
No, I went to what they call the former Yugoslavia, which is near the Adriatic coast, just across from Italy. So I went there, but it was awesome though. I got to travel parts of Europe on my time off. It was really neat.
Wow. So what is the coolest part about being a peacekeeping soldier?
It was again, you had a kind of a sense of purpose. Like every day I'd get up, I'd be wide awake. I have to realize that I was there to help these people. So I made sure my gear was ready to go, my guys, my section was ready to go, and that's in the end, it was kind of a sense of accomplishment.
Wow. So what have you learned about yourself while doing this job?
Uh, I I learned a lot about what if you want people to follow you, you really have to set a good example. And I found that was it really developed my leadership skills and gave me a real strong appreciation for where we live in North America. Really appreciate our system. It's not perfect, but boy, are we lucky to live here.
Mm-hmm. Well, this job sounds like a lot of hard work. I'm kind of allergic to manual labor. Is it worth it?
I'd have to say, yeah. I mean, there were days we didn't think so. We're tossing a lot of sandbags and digging a lot of holes, and there's a lot of foul language being tossed around sometimes.
That sometimes happens.
Oh yeah.
Well, what is the hardest part about being a peacekeeping soldier?
It's being able to keep believing you're doing the right thing. It's day in, day out. A lot of fatigue, a lot of long hours sometimes, and you had to. Sometime we had to leave when we wanted to. You had to stand by very patiently sometime when you really want to go kick in doors and arrest the bad guys and take away their weapons and just be a little more proactive or aggressive. But it was hard to be patient sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is the craziest thing that has happened while you were doing your job?
You know what? One of the craziest things, I was down in a little town called Madari, Okachani, and we went in there. We had to build up an area because there was the Croatian army wanted to invade and wipe out this little Serbian village, and we're really getting annoyed at this because we're not getting support from home. We're getting it was just hard, dirty work. And I remember the guys really complaining, really in a bad mood. And, there's bullet holes all over the place, bomb holes. And I tell them to shut up, get on with work. And this lady shows up. And I mean, it's a real bad place because there's, like I said, there's broken windows and bullet glass or bullet holes. And she shows up with a tray of coffee for us. I couldn't believe it. I thought, you crazy? But there she is. She walked in the middle of the danger zone to give us some coffee. And I never, ever forgot that act of kindness.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
She could have died out there.
I know. And you look at her and I thought I looked at her and I was thinking, my dental work costs more than your house, I'm looking at her like, what are you thinking? But you know what? I'll never forget the courage of that lady.
Wow. Well, if you could think of one thing that would make your job easier, what would it be?
Oh, I think clear direction and
knowing where the enemies are?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, from some of the leadership, because we had to coordinate with all these other countries. Where if we were just working with, the Americans and Brits, it would have felt better. It was just very confusing sometimes what we're supposed to do.
I remember there was this kid in Ukraine, and you know the war that's been happening.
Oh, yeah.
There was this kid in Ukraine that had a drone, and he kept on flying it around because, he loved flying the drone around. And then the military saw like all these little videos of him flying the drone. It's like, maybe he could, the drone had a camera on it. Maybe he could spot the enemies that are driving to Ukraine.
Right.
So basically, the kid flew the drone around because he agreed, and he found the enemies in a secret spot.
Wow.
So they sent people there, and it's amazing. And he did it. He saved his country. He saved
several lives. You can't imagine how many lives he saved.
Yeah, he saved a lot.
Yep.
Well, what is the greatest challenge that most peacekeeping soldiers are dealing with today?
A lot of it was some got PTSD, but a lot of it, again, it's hard to get that you that's I don't know how to put it. With the mission, it's hard to complete the mission because we have so many constraints. We have so many other rules. We have so many, like some days you're not allowed to put a bullet in your rifle. Some days you can't do this, can't do that. And it's like we wish we could just clear direction, go in there, put down the bad people, bring peace back, rebuild the country.
Mm-hmm.
But we have we have to work with a lot of armies aren't as professional as North America. And it was hard working with some that weren't very honest, weren't very professional. So it was very difficult working with some of these other groups that weren't, following the same mission we were.
What advice would you give to my listeners if they wanted to grow up and be a peacekeeping soldier for the United Nations?
Oh, just study your geography, your history, get in real good good shape, get really physically fit, and understand what's going on. I would recommend they go get a good profession and then work in the Army Reserve, because then you have the option of going overseas or working at home. But become really physically fit and read lots about other countries.
Now, my dad says that you are a certified trainer and wrote a book about getting a flat gut at 50. But you always have been fit. My dad is 50 and has a round gut, but he never has time to exercise. Is there any hope for him, or will he be fat forever?
Come on, your dad. Come on, your dad is working around the clock. He probably has a lot of stress, and it's what you do. It's like I was a very bad student, so I learned to work it into my routine. My studying I was very weak at studying, so I learned it. So same thing with fitness. If your dad enjoys doing something, whether it's gardening, whether it's biking or looking after the backyard, and just start implementing a little bit of exercise on the way. And you can start coach well, give him advice, say, listen, Dad, might want to cut back on certain things. But for the most part, it's little increments, it's our habits. And a lot of us don't, what I see a lot of people, they don't rest enough. They don't sleep enough well, and they're often stressed. So I think my impression, that's probably what more than the exercise part. So I need you to encourage your dad to get a good sleep, go to bed before 10, and implement a little exercise and don't eat junk.
He don't do that. He go to bed at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, 4 a.m.?
Yeah, 4 a.m. He goes to bed. He gets like 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah, see, that's what your body will produce cortisol, and you'll see shift workers get that, and they can be not eating much at all, but their bodies are trying to protect itself. So it's a very important part of the triangle. So I got to ask your dad to just take a little time off for himself and look after himself, because we want him to be around a long time.
Okay. Well, do you do your training sessions in person or over Zoom?
I do both. I do home visits and Zoom. Zoom's a lot of fun. It's good. It's easier, right? More people can come and see me.
Now, I'm not over 50, but is there anything you can teach me so I can have a six-pack?
Oh, yeah. You want to start doing your routine. So, like right there at your chair, you can do dips, right? I can sit back like this. I go elbow, knee, right? Mm-hmm. And you can just start doing small things. And what you want to do is get that routine before you do your video games. So if you came in and did, say, 10 sit-ups, 10 push-ups before every video game, you'd be a serious athlete at the end of the day.
I would have like an 18-pack by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because I switch video games a lot more than you think.
Okay, well, you know what? Even I'm serious. If you say, okay, before I get to do that, like I used to study before I watched one of my favorite shows.
Wow.
So I told myself I have to do this studying, and then I would study harder. I'd get home earlier, and then I rewarded myself. So you like your video games, so there's a chance for you to use that as a motivator.
Wow. Now, when I do exercise, I get very sweaty, which means stinky, which means I need a shower again. Kids really don't like showers. Is there exercises that I can do that do not make me stinky?
Yeah, there's a few. There's you can do isometrics. Now, one you can do like this, like you're trying to crush a a walnut, and you squeeze for 6 seconds. Then nice deep breath, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and release. I'm gonna put my hands on my thigh and I'm gonna push forward so my abdominals are tight and breathe. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then one more. You're gonna grab your hand here, push down. You're gonna curl and push down at the same time. So you take a nice deep breath. I'm gonna push down, okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then go the other side. Nice deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There you go. I give you four 6-second exercises. If you do those every day, I guarantee 8 days you'll see a difference.
Wow. So
Yep.
who helped motivate or inspire you the most in following your dreams?
You know what? It was several people. I remember one soldier that trained me. He was a soldier in Rhodesia in South Africa. Very professional, very very self-disciplined. Another was an unarmed combat instructor I met. This guy was just ripped, like Bruce Lee reincarnate. And another was one of my recruits. She's a real small girl, and she passed, and she later on became a lieutenant. We were talking one day, and she said, "Yeah, you can go and get university." And I go, "Well, no, I'm too dumb. I already, barely passed high school." And she actually inspired me to go on to university, and now she's a colonel in charge of a base. But I was really inspired by her. She let me know helped me believe in myself, so I could excel in other areas. So yeah.
Well, what message do you want to tell children all over the world about fitness?
I want to say it's one of the greatest things because it gives you so much freedom to do things and do what you like. Don't be worried about being on sports teams or what other people are doing. Just go and have fun. And you want to have fun so you can go, and you're fit, you can go swimming, you can go exploring, you're not going to be, you're less, you're not going to be sick, but it does so much for your confidence. When I was an instructor, I used to make recruits jump over walls, and sometimes they wouldn't, so I'd chase them up. And once they did it, they were so much more confident what they could do for themselves. So it was really good, nice to watch.
Wow. Well, what's the craziest situation that you have run into while working as a fitness trainer?
I had a friend I was training, and we worked. He's an older guy, and we worked out. And I said, "You're okay?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "All right, yes." So I went to change because I had to go for a instructing job. I come out and he's flopped up against the wall. And I go, "What happened?" He goes, "Oh, I saw something on the internet last night. And I decided to go do it when you weren't there." And he almost passed out. So, it's very important people follow your direction, and you keep, make sure they understand. This is what we want you to do. Don't. It's like going to a doctor and taking twice the medicine. Yeah, you have to be very careful sometimes.
Yeah. Well, what have you learned about yourself while doing this amazing work?
I just learning how different people are motivated, learning what works for people, because I've really learned a lot about anatomy and people, how to work around injuries. And it's just fascinating. I love working with business people. I love working with professionals because it's so motivating. You watch how they run their days. I mean, like yourself, you're going to school, you're doing this. That's what I really like. Oh yeah, no, but you're doing it and you like it, and that's what I really like doing. I watch these professional people and I go, wow, I can learn from them.
Wow. I've read a radio show and podcast that talks about God during my Lion Strong segment. How do you include God's message in your work?
Oh, the biggest gains I made when I made a study of a book, and they talked about the book of Leviticus, how to watch your diet more carefully, how to exercise. And there's been times I admit, I have to think of a higher power, and it's helped me. I know when I was a paratrooper, we used to say it was mon dos saute avec moi, which means my God jumps with me. And there's guys before they went out that airplane, they would cross themselves. I save it for the difficult times, but there's times, when you gotta ask for some guidance.
So when you were a kid, what did you want to do when you grew up? Did you always know that you were going to be working in fitness?
No, I didn't. I was really, I was always sick as a kid, so I had no idea. I wanted to be a scientist. I wanted to be a writer. And I had no idea at all. I just, I wasn't very good at sports. And to me, it was seemed the farthest thing away.
Wow. Well, what was the first job that you ever had?
First job, I delivered newspapers about 5 in the morning.
Wow. Was there anything you learned from that job that helped you to be a better fitness instructor?
Yeah, be on time, be consistent, be professional when you're dealing with people. That's all very important. It's your social skills, I think, are much more important than just your qualifications.
Wow. Well, what was the biggest mistake you ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
Oh, wow. I took all the money I did when I went overseas with the United Nations, and I invested in a house. And I tried to renovate without knowing what I was fully researching what I was doing. And so that was a disaster. I didn't plan appropriately. Not like your dad, how he plans each one of your podcasts. I didn't do the proper due diligence, the proper planning.
So when you're not working as a fitness instructor, what do you do for fun?
I bike. I go biking. I go reading, and hiking.
Do you play video games? And if you do, what's your favorite one?
Oh, I haven't played video games in a long time. I think I played Pac-Man, and that's the only one I can remember. I apologize. I haven't been up.
What
much
about
for
on your
video
phone?
games. No, I just never bothered.
Wow.
I know.
Okay, so what is your favorite book to read?
Oh, I like fiction. I like a lot of Lee Child. I like Barry Eisler. It's like these agents. I like Lou Moore. I like historical fiction. Those are really cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid show. But that one story, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
Well, you mean aside from my underwear hanging behind me?
Yeah.
Besides that one? Before you came on, I was drying out my laundry. I had some underwear hanging behind me, but I won't talk about that one. I was in an eating contest one time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I wrote in the bush, a bunch of soldiers running an infantry course, and we had our last hot meal for 24 hours, and so we had leftover food, and these guys, the platoon commander, he says, "Well, I'll tell you what, you guys whoever can eat the most, will get a prize." So I was second place, and I remember, I think I had 12 pancakes, a bunch of eggs, and I just jamming it down. But this dude, he outdid me. He had he ate it was really funny. We're competing and eating, but he won, and it was probably he wanted to have a smoke whenever he felt like it. So
Did you guys have water around you guys, like in cups?
in cups? Oh yeah. Yeah, in canteens and cups and coffee and juice and
Nice.
yeah.
One little tip for maybe a next eating contest. You
Okay.
want to dip the food in the water. That way it just slides down your throat.
And
Very
you're talking from experience?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know it.
All right, I'm on it.
I tried shoving a hot dog bun down my throat.
Oh,
It
God.
wasn't fun.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I know.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Like next time there's a challenge.
But is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you?
Oh, not really. Just work out. I write. I look after my clients. I inspire people best I can. I can't really think of anything at this time.
Well, do you have a website or Facebook for my listeners that want to follow you?
Yeah, you can go to www.dougsetter.com and DOUGSETTER. If you're interested in the fitness side, go to Flat Gut After 50. I have a Facebook group. Just go to Flat Gut After 50, and they'll take you to Doug Setter's site there. And I always give weekly tips and real cool interviews like these. I put my podcasts and radio shows up there too, yeah.
Wow. Well, what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
Let me think. How could other people do this?
Well, how can they?
They can just stick to it like you do. You get a routine and you put aside that time every day and you just work towards it.
Wow. Well, thank you, Doug, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Mid-State Fire has been providing top-quality fire equipment services for 3 generations to the Central Florida area. Don't wait for an emergency to repair. Call Mid-State Fire today at 407-246-8855. Get your fire extinguishers and emergency lighting for both your home and businesses by visiting www.midstatefire.com. That number again is 407-246-8855.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
Thank you, Doug, for helping me with Math Corners. This week, we're going to do some more multi-step word problems. You know my dad loves showing me how math can be used in the real world. Today, we're going to talk about working out at the gym. So, Claire follows the same workout cycle each time she goes to the gym. First, she runs for 1/3 of an hour. Then she lifts weights for 1/6 of an hour. If Claire has 1.5 hours to spend at the gym, how many times can she go through her workout cycle? Well, this is a real-world situation because people do love to work out at the gym. I'm not so sure about doing the same cycle again and again, but we will assume she really only wants to do 2 exercises. So first, we have to find out how long does it take to do one workout cycle. So you have to add the 1/3 to the 1/6. Well, to do that, you have to find a common denominator. 1/3 is the same as 2/6. That works. So, you can add them together and get 3/6 or 1/2 of an hour. Now you have to divide the half an hour by 1.5 hours. And that is easy. Half an hour is 30 minutes and 1.5 hours is 90 minutes. So when you divide it, you get 3 workout cycles that can be done. That's a lot of working out too. So Doug, my teacher says that I would use math every day. Do you use math while working as a fitness trainer?
All the time. All the time. Sometimes you have people with health problems, and you have to constantly monitor their heart rate and how much they do and their intensity. And then on the business side, I have to decide, well, I want to drive across town to train someone for more money, but all my costs, right? So you have to really you have to think mileage, money, constantly. Math is money. I don't care what anyone says.
Thank you so much, Doug, for your help with Math Corners.
Anytime.
And now it's time for the Heart of the Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living of a Heart of the Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about obedience. For me, I think obedience is being fully committed to doing what is pleasing to God. The qualities of obedience are compliance with a good attitude and respect for the laws. You know when someone is obedient when they follow instructions willingly and throughly. Okay, so most people know this is not my best virtue. I mean, who really wants to be told what to do? Over the summer, my dad gave me lots of math and English work to do so I could stay sharp and be ready for school. He even got me a math tutor to give me crazy stuff to think about and projects to do. I really wanted to spend my time having fun and not doing schoolwork when there's no school. But I went ahead and did all the work. I did complain some, but I was politely reminded that obedience is following instructions willingly and throughly. I refocused myself and got a lot of work done fast. It was a lot faster when I was not complaining about doing the work. I even learned some new things about measuring triangles and wave patterns. Cool. So Doug, did you see or use obedience at all this week?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's times I didn't feel like doing things, but I still look after my clients. Make sure I ate right. Make sure I went to bed early. I know it sounds boring, but you know what? End of the week, I feel great for it. And it's all the kind of the boring things sometimes. Sometimes it's just the small little things to get it done. But definitely, I'm grateful I stuck to my obedience.
Well, of all of the Heart of the Lion virtues, which virtue do you use the most?
I'd have to say leadership and integrity. I'm going to say integrity. It's because it's one of the hardest, I think. Because sometimes, it's the hardest one.
Okay, well, we should always try and be line strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Oh, yeah.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Doug Setter for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking with you today. I think we're going to learn a lot about training and fitness, as well as what it is like to be a peacekeeping soldier.
Well, thanks for having me, Tiberius, and I really appreciate you pushing through and showing your own obedience and integrity with the heat you have down there. So thank you very much. And by the way, my website, www.dougsetter.com, and my book, Flat Gut After COVID, Flat Gut After 50.
Nice. Also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show. And please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and like and subscribe and ring that bell next to the subscribe button. Also, be sure to listen to us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius!